All right, guys, so in this part of our unit, we're going to look at word problems in a couple of days. And so we have already talked about common logs, and that is when the base is 10. Today we're going to talk about natural logs, and so we'll practice some more tomorrow. But one application that we're going to talk about this week is a compound interest with banking. So this top part is basically saying if I have a bank that's compounding interest continuously and I watch what's happening. So if I start with $1 and my interest rate is 100% each year, my amount in my bank is going to get closer and closer and closer to 2.718. The value of the account is going to get approximately that much. And it's an irrational number, meaning it keeps going. This number right here has a name, okay? And it's called the natural base, E. So if you guys look in your calculator, you actually have an E button. I left my calculator at school, so that's great. But go ahead and look at your calculator. You have an E button. So examples number 1, A and B, it says use a calculator to evaluate each expression. So I'm going to give you a second. Go ahead and type in your calculator e to the second. Write that down. And then e to the negative 1.3 and write that down. I'm posting the PDF. You guys can copy the answers or check them in a second. Today we're going to be rounding to 4 decimal places, okay? All right, so again, you want to go back and check these answers. If I have a log and my base is E, remember your base can be anything, it's called a natural logarithm. We'll talk more about it with word problems, but basically natural logs are used to describe things that happen naturally out in the environment, as well as compound continuous interest. And the way you write natural log is with an L and an N. So if you guys look on your calculator, you should have a natural log. And for most people, it should be second log. If you guys look at your calculator, it should be second log is where you're going to see natural log. Pop up. So go ahead and find the natural log of 4 by pressing second log and then 4, enter. And then go ahead and find the natural log of 0.05 by pressing second log and then enter. Okay, so a lot of you guys did really well on your test, which means that you remember or you're able to use Bay. And even if you didn't do that well, that section was pretty good. And just like regular logs, just like common logs, we're going to rewrite exponentials and logs back and forth by using Bay. So instead of log, we're going to have LN, which stands for natural log. So this is saying the natural log of my base E of any answer X is equal to Y if and only if E to the Y equals X. Now, I love to talk about Bay, so in this case, because it's natural log, our base is going to be E, right? That's what's different today. Our base is E. Our answer is X, and our exponent is Y, Bay. This is our exponent, this is our answer. And these go like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All right, so some really simple examples really quick. Number 3 and 4, rewrite each exponential equation in log form and rewrite each natural log in exponential form. So we're just going to use Bay. Never write the base of E. So it's very similar to common logs when we have a base 10. When you have a natural log, we do not write the base of E. You don't need to write that, okay? So if you have E to the X equals 5, remember this is my base, this is my exponent, and this is my answer. So using bay, I have the natural log of base e, which I don't write, of 5 equals x, bay. I don't write the e though. All right, so letter B, if I have e to the 2x minus 1 equals 9, then the natural log of 9 must equal 2x minus 1. The bases here, guys, are e. We just don't write them. Okay, I can go the other way. If I have the natural log of x equals 12, remember your base is e. So e to the 12th must equal x. And then for b, e to the 2nd must equal x squared plus 1. Okay, so all we're going to do on the back for the next couple minutes is we're going to solve equations using these two things, okay? I am not going to be able to type the answers into the calculator right now, so again, you want to make sure you're checking the PDF that I post for things like number 1 and number 2, as well as the answers, like the final answers to the back, okay? All right, so equations and inequalities with base e are easier to solve using natural logs, okay? All the properties that we've talked about still apply. Everything that we've been doing still works. It's just my base is now e. So when I'm putting it in the calculator, I've got to use e. And then I also have to use natural log instead of the log button, okay? So solve each log equation, round your answer to 4 decimal places. If I'm solving it as a log, I probably need to change it to an exponential. So like in number 5, the natural log of x, I can't type that in the calculator, but I can change it, if my base is e, I can change it to e to the 8th equals x, right? And then just type that in your calculator. Sorry, I left mine, it's awkward. So similarly, number 6, I can't type the natural log of 5x in my calculator, but I can change it to be e to the 4th equals 5x. But just like on our test, my answer isn't e to the 4th. It's whatever e to the 4th is, and then hopefully you see that you need to divide by 5 after. Okay, and that'll give us x. All right. Make sure you're typing these in the calculator to get your final answers. This whole back section, you need to check your answers. Number 7, I can't type the natural log of x minus 1 into my calculator, so I'm going to change it to e to the negative 2 equals x minus 1. Okay, you can type e to the negative 2 into your calculator, but then to solve for x, hopefully you see we need to add 1 to both sides. So whatever that ends up being, that's your answer. And then number 8, I don't know if y'all remember, but if I have two exponentials two exponentials equal to each other and the bases are the same, the exponents are equal. If I have two logs that are equal and the bases are the same, the answers are equal. So the bases here are both e's. Okay, so that means that I already know 2x plus 1 must equal x minus 3. Okay, you guys can solve this however you want. I like to get my variables on the left, so I'm going to subtract x. Sorry, I'm using my pink pen. So that's 1x plus 1 equals negative 3. And then subtract 1, so x is negative 4. Okay, make sure you're going back and getting these answers. All right, hopefully you think today is really easy because you have all the skills that you need. The only difference, guys, is you are using base E and natural log in your calculator. That's it. So if I give you guys exponential equations and I say solve them using logs, you just need to remember if it's a base E, it's going to be a natural log, okay? So for number 9, I cannot type e to the x into my calculator, but I can change it to a natural log. So the natural log base e of 6 equals x, right? natural log of 6 equals x. I don't need to write base e. If you want to, you're not wrong. You want to write that e right there, but basically natural log, you're saying the base is e. So again, you don't need to write that, and then just go ahead and type that in your calculator. We're still rounding to the nearest 4 decimal places. All right, number 10, I can't type e to the negative 2x in my calculator, but I can change this by saying the natural log of 8 is equal to negative 2x. The base is e. Okay, so you're going to need to type natural log of 8 into your calculator. Divide by negative 2. And then that's your answer. All right, and then write yourself a note. Don't forget, you have to isolate the base first. So in this case, our base is e. So if you guys look at 11, do you guys notice that e to the x minus 1 is not alone? And that's because there's a minus 5 back here in the back. So this was like one of the questions on the test that a lot of us missed at the very end. In order to solve this, I can't make it a log yet. I need to move the negative 5 over first, and we do that by adding 5. Okay, so I get e to the x minus 1 equals 5 plus 5, which is 10, and now I can solve. Okay, so I'm going to solve this by making it a natural log instead of e. So natural log of 10 is equal to x minus 1. You need to type natural log of 10 into your calculator and then add 1 to both sides. And then that'll give you your answer. Okay? So last one, number 12, I need to add 7 first, because guys, this is not alone. Does everybody see that? There's a whole bunch of stuff we gotta move. So I'm gonna add 7 first, which gives me 9. Then I'm going to need to divide by 5 on both sides, which is awesome because we can't divide 9 by 5, which means we have our fraction. That's all right. So I have e to the negative x equals 9 over 5. Let's make that a natural log. So natural log of 9 over 5 equals negative x. So you're just going to type this in the calculator, and last time whenever we had to type a fraction in the calculator, it like freaked people out. So as soon as you do second log, it says natural log and it opens parentheses. Just do 9 divided by 5, enter. Okay, and then we're not done though because of this negative 1. So in order to get rid of that negative 1, remember you have to either multiply, or I like to divide by a negative 1. And then that's my answer. Okay. So what I would do is make sure you have all these answers written down, rounding to the nearest 4 decimal places. You can go ahead and close out of the video, check your answers on the PDF, and then grab a homework and get started. Tomorrow we will practice, and then we have kind of everything we need to be able to do our word problem days. Okay? Thanks, guys.